Welcome to Guide Mia. Today we're going to talk about running a consultation on Cympha, start to finish. This one is for clinicians. The situation: you're with a patient, and by the end of the visit you want a structured treatment plan you can actually share with them, not a scribble in the chart you'll formalize next week. The consultation module is built for exactly that, and this lecture walks the buttons in order: filling the clinical sections, running the AI extraction, generating the internal and patient plans, sharing with the patient, and when treatment needs lab work, branching straight into a lab case. Follow along with a clinical case open, or just listen now and read the written guide later. Let's walk through a visit. 3 things need to be true before you start. First, you need a clinical case open on Cympha. That's a case sitting at the clinical status, the resting state for doctor-managed cases. If your assistant prepped the visit, this already exists with photos and scans attached. There's a separate lecture on that prep. Second, the patient is seated and the chart is up. A consultation is something you run during the visit, not after it. And third, you need raw material. At least one photo or radiograph attached to the case, or, failing that, a clear clinical note describing what you saw. The consultation is going to build on your records and your words, so it needs at least one of them to exist. Step 1 is a single click. On the case detail page, find a section called Consultations. Click Add Consultation, and pick the consultation type that matches the visit you're doing. That's it. Cympha routes you to the consultation page, which is where the rest of this lecture happens. One case can carry more than one consultation over time. An initial general consult now, a focused implant consult in 3 months, and each lives as its own entry in that consultation section. So don't worry about this one being the only shot. You're adding a visit record, not defining the case forever. Step 2 is the substance of the visit, and the page walks you through it in order. First, chief concern, the patient's own words, kept brief. Second, relevant medical and dental history, anything that matters for this case, not the whole biography. Third, clinical notes, your examination findings, radiographic observations, or a dictated exam. If your assistant scribes while you speak, this is where they type. Fourth, records, a picker showing every confirmed file on the case. Tick the photos, scans, and radiographs relevant to this consultation. You're telling Cympha which evidence this visit is actually about. And fifth, diagnosis, options, and plan notes, your clinical reasoning. None of this needs to be polished prose. It needs to be true and complete because everything after this step is built from it. Here's the consultation page itself. The reason it's structured this way, named sections, a records picker, notes fields in a fixed order, is that structure is what makes the next 2 steps possible. When your findings live in labeled sections instead of one free text blob, Cympha can read them, summarize them, and turn them into documents. It also means the next clinician who opens this case sees a consultation, not a wall of text. You're not filling in a form for bureaucracy's sake. You're laying out the visits so both a machine and a colleague can follow your reasoning. Step 3. Click Run AI Extraction. Cympha reads what you wrote, the concern, the history, the clinical notes, together with the records you ticked, and drafts a structured summary of the consultation. And then it stops and waits for you. Review the extracted content in line. If it got something wrong, edit it right there. If it missed something you consider important, add it. This is the checkpoint that matters. Nothing goes into a plan without passing through you. And here's the tip from the written guide, because it trips people up: don't fight the extraction later. If something is wrong, fix it now, at this step before generating plans. The plans build on what you approved here, not on the raw draft, so a correction made now propagates. A correction skipped now has to be repeated in 2 documents. Step 4. Click Generate Plans, and Cympha helps you draft 2 documents at once. The internal plan is your clinical record of the consultation, written for the chart for you and your colleagues. The patient plan is the same visit translated into plain language for the patient. Their concern, what you found, the options, your recommendation, the risks, and the next steps. Both open in an editor, and you should edit freely. These are drafts, not verdicts. You can attach pictures from the case to either plan through the Attach Pictures panel, which is worth doing. A patient who can see the radiograph you're describing understands the plan very differently. One deliberate boundary: no cost or fee content appears in either plan. Cost stays an offline conversation between your office and the patient, by phone, by email, or at the next visit. This is what the finished plan looks like. Notice the register. It's not a medical record with clinical shorthand. It's a document a patient can sit with at home and actually understand. That matters for the moment that comes next because you're about to hand this to them and ask for a decision. A patient who understands what you found, what their options are, and why you're recommending what you're recommending is a patient who can say yes with confidence or ask a good question instead of going quiet. The quality of this document is the quality of that conversation. Step 5 is the handoff. When the plans read the way you want, click Share with Patient and enter the patient's email or a caregiver's email where that's appropriate, say for a child or a dependent adult. Cympha creates the share for that address and sends the patient an email. What they receive is a phone-friendly link. They can read the plan, look at the pictures you attached, and then either approve it or ask you questions from the parking lot, from the kitchen table, whenever they're ready. 2 things to know about what comes back. The patient chat thread goes only to you. No lab staff can ever see it. And their response surfaces in 2 places: the patient review section of the consultation page and the case activity log. So you'll know without chasing anyone. Step 6 is short but easy to forget. If you edit the plan after you've shared it, new information came in, or the patient's question exposed a gap, the edit does not reach the patient by itself. Reshare the plan to send the updated version, so the patient is reading the latest text and not an outdated draft. Think of sharing as publishing a specific version. Every time the content changes in a way the patient should see, share again. It takes 1 click, and it removes the worst possible outcome: a patient approving a plan that's no longer the plan. And step 7, the bridge out of the consultation. If the recommended treatment needs lab work, crowns, aligners, surgical guides, implant prostheses, go back to the case detail page and click Branch this case. Pick the consultation you just ran, and Cympha seeds a brand new lab case from it. The patient demographics come across from the parent case. The consultation's chief complaint and treatment notes come with it, and the files you attach to the consultation arrive pre-selected. From there, it's the normal submission. Adjust the file selection if you want, pick your lab, pick the service, and submit. There's a whole separate lecture on branching that goes deeper, but this is a moment where a conversation with a patient turns into work order for a lab without you retyping a single thing. That's the whole arc of a visit. Add the consultation, fill the sections honestly, let the extraction draft and correct it once, generate the 2 plans, share with the patient before they've left the building, and branch to a lab the moment treatment calls for one. The pattern worth remembering is that each step feeds the next. Good notes make a good extraction makes good plans, and a good patient plan makes an easy yes. Run it once on a real visit, and the sequence becomes automatic. The structure carries you through it. The written guide walks the same buttons with every field named. At Cympha.com, head to Docs and run a consultation start to finish. This series is working through every Cympha workflow 1 lecture at a time, so subscribe if you want the rest as they land. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.